Let's go to this conversation now. A major security breach at the OR Tambo International Airport has raised the alarm after 2 training hand grenades were undetected in a passenger's checked luggage, only being discovered upon arrival in Ethiopia. Ethiopian Airlines reported the incident, prompting an urgent investigation. Airports company South Africa, ACSA, has since moved to terminate the Aviation Coordination Services, citing that the company was operating without a valid contract in violation of the procurement and aviation laws. The South African Cabin Crew Association's President Advocate Christopher Shabangu now joins us for a conversation around the implications of this. A very good morning to you, Advocate Shabangu. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Please help us make sense of what is going on here. On one end, ACSA is blaming ACS and says that it is ACS that should take responsibility for this. The Civil Aviation Authority is saying that no, ACSA must take responsibility, and therefore the 2 million rand that was imposed on it. ACS is blaming ACSA and saying because of the legal dispute, they have been unable to upgrade their systems. What's your take on this, and who should be taking responsibility?
Good morning to you. Good morning to your viewers. It's quite a concern. It's a serious concern. On the go, ACSA is responsible for security at the airport. It has to be responsible. Who they employ to be, to be in charge of security, then it's their prerogative. But in this case, they are supposed to be responsible for security at the airport. I do not see how that can be taken to a third party. That's their deal. That's what they're supposed to be fixing. But ACSA is responsible for this.
ACSA is responsible for this. And then to the part around where ACSA says that ACS operates on an evergreen basis with no contract and is not an entity recognized in civil aviation legislation or subject to any legal regulation. We have invited ACSA. They're not available to speak on this. Civil Aviation Authority not available to speak on this. ACS cannot speak on this. The Transport Department as well is not speaking on this. But how does a company that has the duties of screening luggages and the duty of security at a national key point not have a valid contract?
You see, that's to me that's controversial. Who has given the license to ACSA? It is the CAA that has given the license to ACSA, not to ACL. So we can now shift that to ACL and say they're operating without any license or without any authority from ACSA. Secondly, ACL would have received a contract not from CAA, but from ACSA. It is ACSA that is appointed. So if they have any other, evergreen contracts, it is the contracts that they have with ACSA. It is ACSA that is responsible. They are the main body here that is supposed to be looking after the interest after the security of the company. They cannot run away from this. One is not necessarily saying here that, there's a lot of things, let me just say, there's a lot of things that are coming out of this thing. ACL is supposed to somehow give some kind of briefs to ACSA on certain periods of time to say, look, security is like this is what we're doing. And I won't take personally, and I'm saying, we can't take that, ACSA has blocked ACL from improving security at the airport. That to me does not make any sense at all. You can't come to ACSA and say, we have a new system and then to deal with detection of any unwelcome products in the aircrafts, and then you say, no, you can't use this because we don't have a contract with you. It does not make any sense to me. So ACSA has to take responsibility. A bigger investigation here has to take place, and then we understand what happened at that airport. We understand that the grenades were darts, but at the end of the day, had anything happened in the aircraft today, we'd be speaking a different language in terms of the cabin crew that are on the aircraft, in terms of the passengers that are on the aircraft. And from my understanding, is that those grenades, as much as they are training grenades, the blast off that they give can be dangerous. And secondly, they are not allowed. Such items are not allowed in the aircraft for that particular reason, that they may cause a danger or they pose a danger to the aircraft. So ACSA at this point will have to take responsibility, will have to answer. And as SACA, we're saying we're concerned, not just only for members of SACA, but for passengers, for other airlines that, this may happen. Lastly, what if this was a test? What if this was a test run We don't know that at this particular moment. So it is quite important that ACSA takes responsibility, answer to this question to ACSA and to the public, of course, and then improve security at the airport. We cannot run away from that. They cannot run away from that responsibility.
Yeah, and we know, of course, that the airports are national key points. To what extent do you think that this poses a threat to national security?
It does pose that one appreciates that the airport is quite big. Airports generally are quite big. I mean, it's kilometers and kilometers, of parameter around the airport, and it is a national key point. So therefore, they must, we have to be concerned. If somebody can walk in just a check-in, I would understand if maybe they came in through other points, because there's many other points within the airport where things can come in. But now they walk through security with 2 grenades. That's as they may be, but they walked in with 2 grenades. It is a concern. I mean, as I say, what if that was just a test run by whoever that was carrying those that we have to be concerned. Security needs to be improved, must be improved. If it's systems that need to be improved in terms of scanning systems, they need to be improved. Yesterday I was just thinking, before I could understand the story correctly, look, I even thought maybe this was a transit passenger, which means, when I say transit, meaning they probably came from another country to South Africa, via South Africa to another country, Ethiopia in this case. That then says even scanning in the in the conveyor belts within where the bags are going, background there where we don't see, there should be scanners there as well. So if now this is going to go through, proper channels and people allow it, it does not make any sense to us. We think security needs to be improved at the airports, for the sake of the public, for the sake of the country as well.
The airport company, of course, has also temporarily suspended its group executive for enterprise security and compliance, Mzwandile Petros. Do we know whether this could be at all linked to this particular incident?
At this moment, it's hard to say, but it would make sense if that's the case. And I'm saying it would make sense if that's the case because already ACSA is complaining about ACL. So that would make sense to us. We can only speculate at this moment that would be the reason why he would be suspended. I mean, I cannot think of any other reason.
All right. No, thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate it, Advocate Christopher Shabangu. Just a final one, Advocate Shabangu, relating to FlySafair as a pilot ongoing strike. Is this affecting your members in any way or form?
Well, it is affecting our members because, obviously their schedules change. So there is no stable rostering at SAFAir at this moment in terms of our members. And ourselves, we're going to be engaging in talks with them. In wages, our wages have been stopped, so they are affected. Our wage talks have been stopped, and we understand, as SACA, we want to give the management of SAFAir as well as the pilots union an opportunity to finish the negotiations so that we can continue with ours. But we had already started. Our members are expecting us to be finished by the end of July, and I don't think that is going to be happening. What's going to rather be happening is that we will wait for the pilots and for SAFAir management to finish the negotiations, then we can restart our talks with them. But we thank our members because they are patient enough and they do understand as to what is going on at the moment, and then we will resume our talks with SAFAir as soon as they're done with the pilots.